Hi, everyone. I am thrilled to welcome you to today's Frontiers breakout session on how to drive results with enterprise grid. For the past 12 months, organizations have been facing unprecedented challenges in the transition to remote working. You can no longer go to the coffee area or to the fourth floor to discuss with your colleagues about the latest product release or about the latest marketing campaign. If you think of multinational organizations, it also multiplies that challenge. And you add to that tools and systems that do not talk to each other, where you're creating silos for information and you're creating barriers to transparency, alignment, and collaboration. Today's session is about hearing from company about how they've overcome those barriers in terms of transparency, alignment, and collaboration by connecting their people, their apps, and their data into a singular digital workplace, Slack. My name is Violaine Ezekiel. I look after customer success for France and the UK here at Slack. I'm going to be your host for today's session. And later on, I'm going to be joined by Jörg Balzer from FreeNow, so that you can hear directly from him on how users at FreeNow are using Grid. So let's talk a bit more about enterprise grid and understand a bit more how companies have overcome those barriers and navigated through remote working and consolidating tools. The way they've done it is by using our enterprise grade solution that we call Enterprise Grid. As we know, we're now in the process of reinventing the future of work. When we think future of work, we think about agility, we think about integrations, we think about culture. Agility is about making decisions fast. It's about collaborating fast. It's about time to market. Integrations are about connecting those business systems, about providing intelligence to business processes to create a seamless employee engagement. Last but not least, culture. We've seen that the most successful companies that could pivot in the past 12 months were the ones with the strongest culture, the strongest values, the ones that could foster innovation, that could foster collaboration for employees and new joiners. And Enterprise Grid is a strong enabler to that culture of innovation and collaboration. When we go a bit deeper into Grid offerings itself, there are three main elements. First one is flexibility. Compared to other offerings like Standard and Plus, which provides only a single workspace, Grid provides multiple interconnecting workspaces where everyone can work with everyone. So you can connect people to work on cross-functional projects. You can have access to the company directory. So you're fostering that culture of innovation. Again, when you think about an organization, you cannot just think about their employees or new joiners. You have to think beyond the walls of that organization. You have to think about their customers, their suppliers, their vendors. So beyond the walls, you can also, through Slack, extend that collaboration to the whole organization ecosystem. And Grid allows you to do that with flexibility. Second thing is security. Security is always top of mind for most of the companies. With Grid, IT admin can actually set security policies at the organization level, but they can also customize at the workspace level. So we're bringing flexibility to security. And obviously, because it's a secure enterprise solution, we provide the best-in-class tools in there. So everything around single sign-on, around two-factor authentication, retention policies, data loss protection. So we're making sure we're meeting your expectations when it comes to an enterprise solution. Last but not least, compliance. We are committed to protecting your data. Because Slack's platform is based on a defense in-depth principle, we're committed to protect that data at every layer of the organization. We're still earning certifications that are recognized globally. We make sure we meet your compliance requirements, whether you are in a super heavy regulated industry like public sector, FinServ, life sciences. And also we employ every rigorous methods at the architectural and operational level so that we protect your data at all times. And customers trust us. Customers in all of those industries, highly regulated industries, they trust us. And if we take a single example, Ameritrade. Ameritrade is a well-known e-broker platform where people can trade financial assets. And they've been on Grid for some time now. They've realized Slack could become the backbone of everything they were doing internally, in terms of fostering collaboration across 10,000 employees, in terms of fostering innovation, in terms of connecting people and creating that sense of belonging. Ultimately, they were able to gain productivity as well and make people's life easier, more pleasant, more productive. So again, back to the initial ideas around agility, integrations, and culture, Enterprise Grid enabled Ameritrade to achieve that. Obviously, this is something we can do with any type of industry, any size of company, any maturity. And when we talk about usage of Slack, your usage at your company might sit somewhere along that graph. So from organic, where you have a couple of people using Slack for very random use case, to purposeful, where you have specific departments aligned on defining value through use cases, to aligned, where you know where you want to go with Slack, where you have an operating model around it, to transformational. Transformational is about reinventing the way you work within your walls and beyond the walls of your organization. Let's be honest, that change would not happen overnight. This is the start of a long journey to reach that transformational state. We have a dedicated team here at Slack called Customer Success that is here to help you navigate throughout that journey. The Customer Success team can advise you on the best strategies to drive greater adoption, to share best practices from the industry, from your peers, so that you become the best in class in defining the future of work. The reason why customer success is so important is because we want to make sure you maximize the investment out of Slack. We want to make sure that aligned to your business objectives, Slack can help you achieve that. So back to the initial point, with Grid and with Slack, we can enable you to be agile, to integrate and provide a perfect employee experience, and also foster a strong sense of belonging within your company and emphasize your culture. Now, don't take my word for it. I think this is about time we have someone on the ground talking about how he's managed to overcome those barriers to transparency, alignment, and collaboration. So I'm super happy to welcome Jörg Balzer here with us now. So hi, Jörg. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Very, very good. So Jörg, welcome to Frontier session today. Super, super happy to have you in here. I'm super happy as well for people to hear more about how your users are using Slack, obviously, as of today, and the way you've been leveraging Grid. So that we can just kick things off, can you maybe tell us a bit more about FreeNow, the business? I know FreeNow wants to reinvent a bit the way cities do urban mobility, so that would be super exciting to hear more about it. But also, we'd love to hear more about your role and maybe the scope of your team.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, first of all, for the invitation and for the introduction. So, my name is Jörg Balzer. I'm the manager for the lead of the IT infrastructure team here at FreeNow. And my team and I, we are taking care of all the different SaaS and infrastructure solutions that are being used in the company. And Slack is one of them. And regards of FreeNow, you mentioned it already, but many people don't know we are one of the biggest multi-service mobility provider in Europe. And we are also one of the fastest growing retailer in Latin America. We are already around for quite some time. We started back 10 years ago with taxi services, and then moved on, including ride-hailing and other micro-mobility services such as e-scooters, e-bikes, e-Vespas, as well as car sharing. And for example, we recently just partnered with Tier. And our goal at FreeNow is to simplify the way you as a person move in your city, but providing you with all available options. So that's why we try to partner with all the different partners here and to get as much as options for you. And we also know that mobility is one of the climate change drivers. So we pledged to cut our emissions, the emissions of our fleet, by 50% for 2025, and even to 100% zero emissions until 2030. So using only fully electric vehicles, and I think that's really a cool thing.
That's a super cool thing. Indeed, like being a Londoner, I think urban mobility is really something super important. So yes, yeah. pretty excited. So I know you've been customer of Slack for some time now, and you're pretty big users of Grid as well. So I'd love to hear more about your journey, like the reason why you wanted to go into Grid as well, and the way and the vision around connecting people together.
Sure. So FreeNow is part of a mobility joint venture between BMW and Daimler. And so in 2019, both thought about joining forces to change the way we move around the city. So they created this joint venture in which both sides merged their already existing initiatives. So the resulting companies, Reach Now, Share Now, Charge Now, and Park Now, and us, FreeNow, we needed some kind of a communication platform where we can exchange ideas and discuss things. And so we have been already Slack customers since 2014, and we knew Slack was the place to be. So Slack Enterprise Grid was the right solution for us because it allowed us to be together with our sister companies in one big place. So in 2019, with roughly about 3,500 employees, we joined the Grid, and this was so cool. I mean, yes, we are different companies, but we are all working on similar topics with similar tools. And we are all creating the mobility of the future. So it was and it is still very interesting to bring people together in a safe place where they can meet, share ideas, and discuss best practices. And all this enables Slack Enterprise Grid. So we can create different workspaces for different kind of teams like security team, marketing, and so on. And they have their own place where they can share ideas. And by doing this, they are all able to work closer together without these artificial boundaries. And that was not possible before. And that's really cool.
And it's good to hear as well that you associate Enterprise Grid with words like cool or best practices, and the fact that you're creating some sort of a community around that for people to share ideas and think that it's a safe place as well. I think it's super interesting to hear that as well from you. On top of that, I know that you are encouraged, obviously, collaboration, and I'd love to hear from you on the IT front if you've seen benefits and if you've seen improvements in the way you were managing your users.
Oh yeah, I mean for us, IT, all the user management, like processes like on and offboarding, for us it's a no-brainer. I mean, thanks to Enterprise Grid and single sign-on, the automation, the APIs that are available, we don't have to touch any accounts manually. And also we did some M&As, and there was also it was very cool and very good to be on Grid, because we just could integrate existing workspaces from the companies and move users from the workspace to workspace via the Grid API. So that was really, really nice and helped us a lot, because when you are in such an M&A position, the first thing that you need to establish is communication. And communication is the key part. And that's why you need to be fast. And this was one of the main advantages of bringing everyone together in Enterprise Grid.
And just so you mentioned the onboarding and offboarding, can I ask you maybe a bit more details about that specific process, if you can share?
Yeah, so the onboarding, offboarding stuff is, so we have some automation in the background that is pulling data from our single source of truth, and then we are sharing one big Okta tenant, which is then providing and pushing all the data to Slack. And this single point of single sign-on is really, really helpful for us, because there is no mix-up, there is no where is this user coming from, and it's helping us a lot. As I said, we don't have to touch anything.
That's so very, very seamless experience and low maintenance as well. Which is like great to hear. And like hearing about like that use case, obviously it seems like you're big fans of automations and integrations. So I'm always impressed about how teams are leveraging like all of those workflows within Slack. Can you maybe explain a bit more why you're so passionate about bringing automations to employees?
I can. So to begin with, Slack is our most important communication tool. I mean, today I would guess more than 80% of the communication is happening in Slack in our company. And so it was pretty natural for us to use Slack as a front end for our customers or our employees. Automation, DevOps, IT as code, all these things are big topics in our IT. And I'm really passionate about these topics because I really hate recurring manual tasks, and it's not tickling my brain. So I really want to enable our people in IT to have more interesting projects, and therefore we are automating tasks wherever it's possible. And example, by moving more and more of the stuff and of our tasks into our own self-service portal. And while we're doing this, we are also moving, we're enabling Slack as our front end. So all the interactions is then happening in Slack, like collecting managers' approvals or informing people about the status of tasks. And that's really improved the process, and our colleagues, they really like it because their request is now resolved in minutes instead of hours or maybe days. And we got really, really positive feedbacks and kudos for this. Another example is, we built a Slack bot for our HR team to answer the most common employee questions in the channel. And on top of that, we recently added help to connect Slack as our communication tool and our task tracking system, Jira. So that's really helpful. And you can also, just a very simple thing, but with just one Slack command, you can get an overview of all your assets and licenses that are assigned to you or to your team. And I mean, I can go on and on, but as you can see, for us, Slack is more than just a messaging tool between people. It's more like becoming a communication hub and interface for all different kind of tools.
Yeah, again, it's so super interesting to hear that from you. And it seems like it's not just IT or tech related, but you want to also spread the word or spread the automations to other departments, and they're already benefiting from it. So that's super powerful as well. I know as well that you, on top of automations and integrations, you've started to explore Slack Connect, which is the way we can exchange with people outside the walls of the organization, so with your vendors, third parties, etc. How are you envisioning the future of Slack Connect within Free now and the benefits for the whole of the organization?
So, Slack Connect is or the ability to talk with our partners and vendors inside Slack is really, really important for us. I mean, one part of our business is to integrate new partners on our platform, like I mentioned here. And Slack helps us to be in close contact with them and to keep the momentum of a fast-moving company, to make fast decisions. So that's really great. And I mean, we have shared over, or we've shared a lot of channels and direct conversations with something like about 50 different organizations. So that's really important for us, this feature. And for me, from an IT perspective and security perspective, I really like the verified organization and the auto-approve feature, because it removes us as an IT as a bottleneck. Because once we reviewed a partner and we say, okay, it's a verified partner, it's the right one, it's not someone else and it's a trustworthy partner, then we can auto approve all the communication that is happening in there, and that's really cool.
So again, I think back to agility, it allows you to collaborate faster as well with other companies and outside the walls of your organization, which is again quite powerful.
I mean, not only the the company, or also about our partners, but I would like to see more and more connections. So you have Slack as your safe place, which is controlled by your company, and then I would like to have more connections between companies in a city or about a specific community. That would be really, really cool, because it's happening. It's happening outside Slack. All the meetups, they are happening, and I really would like to have them inside of Slack. So that would be really, really great for the future.
Ooh, challenge accepted. So Slack being the best-in-class tool for communities building. I love that. So moving on to the next question, Jörg, for you. So as I said earlier, for the past 12 months, organizations have been facing that unprecedented challenge to move to remote working. So obviously culture and the way we create that sense of belonging for employees and new joiners might have been impacted. I'd love to hear from you if you've seen some changes in the culture at FreeNow, in the employee engagement as well, and if you could share that with us today.
Yeah, so at FreeNow we are very proud of our culture, and we still keep some of the startup spirit. So I really want to invite you to visit us for a beer if all this is over. If we talk about this transition, I mean, for us, it really took only 2 days in March 2020 to move fully remote. So we needed 1 day for testing, so to ensure that all services are okay, and then 1 day for fixing some of the minor issues, and then we went fully remote, and we still are. But this is just the technical part. I mean, in the months and years before, we already experimented with remote teams and hybrid teams, and that went pretty smooth already. And I mean, there was some guidance from the management, but we trust the teams, we trust the managers to come up with a good framework, and that went pretty well. Of course, I mean, we needed to adapt to the new situation. We made mistakes like replacing existing meetings, talks, and try to set up regular Zoom calls. But after some time, we also found out that was the wrong direction, and we went more asynchronous and on demand, and it's now working so well that a few weeks ago we announced that we will be a remote first company even after Corona. So that's really nice, and I would say, and that's my personal opinion, this wouldn't have been able if we haven't had Slack. So Slack is the main reason that everything went smooth. I mean, it's so easy for people inside the company to come together in Slack and create dedicated communities. Like we have communities for women, for parents, mental health, and so on and so on. So that's really amazing. And for me, Slack is the glue that holds everything together. So company, people, culture. So that's why I really like Slack.
Fantastic to hear. So yes, Slack being the backbone of remote working in a way, navigating through that big challenge in the past 12 months and beyond, I think, because yes, as you said, future of work is still to be invented or reinvented, and happy to hear that Slack is helping you tremendously. Before we finish, actually, if you had one single piece of advice to give the audience in terms of how to level up your team's usage of Slack, what would it be?
What advice would I have? I mean, if you want to level up, and that's just from my personal perspective, you need to look at all your manual and stupid and repetitive tasks. And if you identify them, then look at the return on invest and automate them. And while doing this, just try to imagine how a non-technical user would love to be notified, to be informed, and sometimes, or maybe Slack is then the right place to use it, and Slack can make a difference. So for us, Slack made a difference, and people are really liking to have all the communication inside Slack. So that would be my advice.
Thank you so much. Like, that's a great piece of advice. I'm great as well to hear that Slack made a difference in terms of pivoting to remote working, in terms of, again, breaking those barriers to transparency, alignment, collaboration, bringing values and culture and people all together. I think that's a brilliant story. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, like the story of Free Now and how you've been doing that. And now I'm just looking forward to hearing a bit more about the next automations or integrations you're going to be working on. So Jörg, again, thanks a ton for joining today.
Yeah, thank you to having me here. So it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.